What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Game of the Day. Today we saw day 5 of the group stage of Worlds 2020 and the conclusion to Group A. If you didn't catch all of the games today, you definitely missed out because we saw some crazy action today, especially towards the latter half of the day. So, without further ado, let's jump right into it. But beware, there's spoilers ahead, so don't say you haven't been warned. First of all, we're gonna watch a clip of the video, actually, of the ending of the video, because the game of the day was, without a doubt, the last game of the day. And I know that not everybody can or wants to watch the videos until the very ending, but I think this clip is so worth watching, and I really want to show it to you guys. Because it also just encapsulates my excitement for this game. And yeah, I really don't want to watch I don't really want to have any viewers miss out on this part of this video. And then we get that incredible Baron for Infernal Soul trade, and again, Bin TPing into the backline, making that insane plane with the GP ultimate and the barrels, doing all the damage in the world. If you're a GP player out there, this is basically your blueprint how to carry games. And I think insanely well played by both teams. Once again, definitely go back and watch this game. You can see so much, you can learn so much from how G2 were able to hang on to this game, and then also how Suning were able to close it out. I hope you noticed that this really, I'm trying to make a Game of the Day episode every single day. It doesn't always work out, of course. This is basically just a hobby at this point. But games like these are why I even watch this game, why I decided to start making content around it, because when you see games like this, it's just too exciting to not talk about it. So yeah, let's talk about it. Let's discuss in the comments section. On Twitter, hit me up definitely, and as always, thanks for watching. The first two games of the day were pretty stumpy, so I'm gonna go over them relatively quickly. In the first game, we saw Team Liquid matching up with G2, and from the draft, we see that Team Liquid go heavily into the Hecarim here. They put that onto Broxah, they put Lulu in the top lane, and they put a very strong lane into bottom, with Kalista and Zed, and the Syndra in the mid lane, pretty standard. So, on the other hand, we have G2 with a team composition that I'm a great fan of, because they put Jankos on a facilitating early game jungler, and they put their two solo lanes on carries, with their bot lane on a self-sufficient, strong bottom lane. And I think both teams have good team fighting compositions with good engage and good backline access. The Hecarim, with the help of Lulu and the Zed and Kalista ultimate engage, can get into that backline and really cause some chaos for G2. But on the other hand, Volibear, Echo, Sylas, they can do the same, and I think this game really depends on who gets the engage off first, who can initiate good team fights for their team, and because that is the win condition for both teams, I think it's really important who gets ahead in this game early, because you get ahead, you can snowball that, you get your item points first, you get to your break points first where you are strong, and then you having this advantage and the priority, the tempo, you can initiate your fights. And yeah, so I think that's what both teams are playing for in this early game. Jankos having the priority over Broxah's Hecarim at the early stage of this game plays this perfectly, I think. So we see Broxah right here around minute 5 going into the top lane after he clears his jungle and threatening a gank onto Wunder, mainly just being there for Impact to back him up, to push in this wave. but the wave doesn't crash into the turret, and impact doesn't reset. So now we see Jankos firstly chilling in the tri-brush. Then he sees that he already has a pink in the river brush, goes in there. This is really patient from Impact, and now he goes in. Wunder lands the chains. This is first blood for G2, and this is really strong for them, starting this game off on a good note and with a lead. And we're gonna see this investment and further investment here with the Herald from Jankos top pay off. We see that the rest of the map is rather even in farm, in gold, and Wunder is just able to push further ahead in the top lane, getting a second charge of the Herald right here, getting further ahead in farm. And on the other hand, TL is doing a good job, of course, taking the Drake in turn. But the lead for G2 is just a little bit too big, and after taking the second Drake, G2 that is, Team Liquid feel the need to start off a fight, and Broxah on the Hecarim goes into the backline way too early on, gets demolished, and it's a 4v5 for G2 from there on, and we're gonna see Wunder's lead play out perfectly here. Gets another kill for G2, and now it's 10 for 2 in kills. They are 7k gold ahead, and they snowball the game from here. The end of the game comes shortly before 30 minutes, when Team Liquid try to get back into the game, try to initiate another fight around this mid lane, but yeah, it just goes against them again. It's another fight they engage but lose because G2 are just too far ahead at this point. They are 14k gold ahead, and yeah, I mean, Team Liquid are trying to find something here to get back into the game because they know they are almost out of it, but it basically does the opposite and just closes the game out for G2. The next in the match we saw was Machi versus Suning. Machi drafted a lane-heavy team composition with Jace in the top lane, Syndra in mid, and Ashe Nautilus in bot lane. They also drafted the Nautilus in the Volibear in the jungle to be able to facilitate those lanes early on and have some priority over the usually heavy farming Graves. Suning respond to the Jace in top lane with an Irelia, a pick we haven't seen often yet at this World Championship, with the Galio in mid lane, which is alright into the Syndra. It's not gonna win the lane, but with the magic shielding and the innate tankiness is gonna be able to hold up and then aid his side lanes in putting on the pressure. In bot lane, they also have a very strong bot lane with the Jhin and the Bard, two ranged champions into the Nautilus, which can be tough to play for the Nautilus. He has to basically all in or not fight at all, because he just gets poked out. He doesn't have the aftershock unless he gets very, very close, and so this lane can be quite obnoxious to play as the Nautilus. The game will be heavily decided by top lane in this game. Bin, he put on a masterclass in this game, and overall today Bin had an amazing day. He showed himself to be one of the best players on this roster, one of the best top laners coming out of China. The top laners coming out of China this year are insane. We have Zoom on JDG, we have 369 on Top Esports, who we've already seen big highlight plays throughout the LPL summer, the playoffs, and now Worlds. And Bin, in my opinion, is joining them right now. His play today was insane, and we're gonna see it in this game and later on. The first time we see Bin going for kind of a skirmish is right here before the 4-minute mark. He hits the stun, he procs his passive, and now we're just gonna, the camera is gonna pan to the other side of the map shortly, but we're gonna come back to top lane because this is the first solo kill that Bin is gonna be able to get this game. He connects the stun under the turret again. PK doesn't flash out of it, and yeah, Bin goes for the dive and gets rewarded with the solo kill. As we jump to the 15-minute mark, Bin once again dives PK, who once again doesn't use his flash and goes down under his turret again. In the 10 minutes between these two clips that I just showed, Machi were able to bring up Gemini and Mission into the top lane at around 8-9 minutes to actually shut down the Aurelia. We saw a couple of skirmishes like this one around the map where overall Suning were able to come out ahead, and at this 15-minute point they have a sizable advantage and should be able to snowball and close out the game from here. As we jump to the 15-minute mark, Bin once again dives PK, who once again doesn't use his flash and goes down under his turret again. In the 10 minutes between these two clips that I just showed, Machi were able to bring up Gemini and Mission into the top lane at around 8-9 minutes to actually shut down the Aurelia. We saw a couple of skirmishes like this one around the map where overall Suning were able to come out ahead, and at this 15-minute point they have a sizable advantage and should be able to snowball and close out the game from here. And that's exactly what happens. This was one of the many games at this World Championship where we saw basically a linear gold advantage growing for one team, and yeah, the team that gets ahead early just snowballing that into another win and another win, and in the end the game win. I think it's unfortunate for Machi that they draft for lane domination and then just basically get outclassed in the lanes and are not able to make work of their win conditions at all. Jace getting solo killed in the lane at 4 minutes by an Irelia is definitely not ideal, and the game spiraled out of control from there, with Suning basically winning all over the map. We see them at Soul Point here. They're not going to take the Soul, but that's even a bigger safety net for them if they weren't able to close out the game here. We see that they have taken the Baron, and at this point they just do what they want in the base of Machi. They take some more kills to pad their KDAs and close out the game. Up next we see G2 versus Machi. G2's draft in this game is very mid-jungle focused. They have Caps on the Lucian and Jankos on the Lilia, a very good AD mid laner with a very good AP mid laner, both having prio earlier in the game, and they draft Shen in top and Rakan in bot to aid this already very strong mid 2v2, and then Jhin, a very strong, very meta AD carry that can also influence the fights from a distance. On the other hand, on Machi's side, this is basically their elimination game. If they lose it, I think they are definitely out of contention for qualification here, and vice versa. If G2 win, they are definitely qualified for the bracket stage. And in their elimination game, Machi go for a comp with Ornn, with Graves, Orianna, and Ezreal. Alistar on top. This comp is team fighting, scaling through and through. There's basically no early priority they drafted, no winning lane here, no good jungle setup no setup for the jungle to come gank really. They basically want to get through the laning phase, give up early objectives and come back later on into the game and win it out around some of these late game objectives. Sadly for Machi, they cannot make this game plan work at all. Wunder in the top lane once again crushes it in farm. He's basically, you can basically count on Wunder to get ahead on farm in any matchup. And now we see the bottom lane winning out as well. Koala, still level 5, misjudging his tankiness and the enemy's damage, and goes down for it. And the other kill that G2 were already able to secure was around that mid-jungle 2v2 with Caps and Yankos ganking onto Mission. The thing I want to highlight in this game is G2's incredible ability to close out games. We see here that actually the game hasn't gone to plan for G2. Machi were able to secure multiple objectives, secure kills earlier than they maybe should have been able to. And we see Ezreal poking out the Jhin. He has to back off, and Machi take a 4v5 team fight here. G2 though, with their team composition still being at their strong point, they turn it around, and now we have the 26-minute mark. A 7k gold lead for G2. So they gave up the Drakes for gold leads, for turrets, heralds, which we often see G2 doing. They transfer these 3 kills they were just able to take into a Baron. And the game ends right here at 29 minutes into the game. At 26 minutes, so 26 minutes to 29 minutes is all that G2 needed to close out this game. We see once again in the replay the ill-fated engage from Machi, Koala going out from the burn of Lilia's passive and the Liandry's, and then with the Lilia ultimate as well, putting multiple members of Machi to sleep, G2 were able to win that 4v5 and take the Baron off it. With the Baron, they transition into Drake and take that objective down as well, which is not really important for them right now, but they deny the Cloud Soul from Machi. Wouldn't have been a death nail in this game for G2 if Machi were able to secure that soul, because the Cloud Soul is not the most impactful in this game, but it's obviously better to deny it than give it over. Before they win this one, before they take this dragon, G2 are able to win another big team fight. Perks actually goes down here, so that's a nice shutdown for Machi, but G2 are able to secure the dragon in this aftermath. So now we are at 28:30 into the game. Machi, towards the end of the dragon, come actually into the dragon pit to contest this Drake, and G2 punishes them for every single small mistake that they make. They take 2 more kills off this contest by Machi, and they march down the mid lane with the Baron buff to take an inhibitor. At the same time that they take the mid inhib, they also push for the bot inhib, and again they punish every small mistake. Mission, he just steps forward that little bit too much and goes down for it, which enables G2 to take multiple kills right here. They just know how far forward they can step. They know how far forward the enemy can step, and they punish them whenever they overstep. And in just a 3-minute a 3-minute window from 26 minutes and roughly 4 or 5k gold ahead to 29 minutes, just 3 minutes later, they close out this game with the Baron and with a very strong Lucian from Caps. This was incredible from G2, I think. Not a lot of teams would have been able to close out this game this quickly with the small amount that Machi actually gave them. But as they always say, and I think this goes really well for G2, if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. Next up, we have Suning versus Team Liquid. And if Team Liquid can't win this game, they are definitely out of the bracket stage and eliminated in groups. If they win this game, they still have a shot, even though it's unlikely. Suning drafted a very similar team comp to the game before, with global presence in the mid lane and with strong side lanes and a farming jungler. I'm a big fan of the Twisted Fate Graves, because the Twisted Fate out of the mid lane has a lot of mobility with the ultimate, has lockdown with the gold card, and together with the Twisted Fate, together with the Graves, when Graves hits level 6, you can use the Twisted Fate and Graves combo to one-shot someone on the map. Team Liquid, on the other hand, draft the Lilia, and as always with the Lilia, we see a level 1 invade onto the Grom, onto the Wraiths, and Team Liquid, although SOFM is able to smite away the big Wraith and get himself level 2, they are still able to take First Blood, take this red buff for Broxah, which gets him level 2 and saves his life. And yeah, overall Team Liquid, they are also going to be able to kill off Sword Art here and get out with 3 kills, 2-1. This is very big for Team Liquid, gives them a huge advantage early on, and helps them in this game, which could have eliminated them, or could still eliminate them, of course, from the group stage. Alongside the Lilia, Team Liquid have drafted massive tanks in the Malphite and Zed in top and mid lane, and a very strong bot lane with 2 ranged champions in Jhin and Bard in bot. This team composition comes in great at this early skirmish around the top side, where the Team Liquid bot lane is actually roaming up together, while Senna is only contributing her ult to this fight, which is great, of course, but we're gonna see the Jhin ult have amazing impact. 2 kills right here, 2 more bullets onto the Jace, and Team Liquid take the skirmish 3-4-1. Team Liquid are not really able to snowball this lead into much of anything. We see that the Drakes are 2-2. We see that the while Liquid has a 4 kill lead, they don't have a big gold lead. But now their team comes really alive, with the fed Jhin and 2 big frontliners for the Jhin and the Lilia to do the damage. They take this skirmish, this team fight right here, 2-0, and they are able to turn on the Baron off the back of it. And the Baron is how Team Liquid are really able to snowball this game. We see that they have taken multiple more kills. They now have a 6k gold lead, and they are able to break open the base right here, take the mid inhibitor, and trading 1-for-1 in kills again, which actually could have gone way better for them. But the fat Jhin tactical flashes in to finish off a kill, doesn't get it, and dies for it. And so Team Liquid are only able to trade 1-for-1, get the inhib, and not actually close out the game here. But it doesn't take them long to finish the game. With the mid inhib down, they pressure the bot lane, Impact TPs in with the Malphite ult, and Team Liquid take another team fight win for themselves and are able to finish the game from here. So Team Liquid keeping their hopes alive with this game. They show a good performance, I think, way better than anything I would have expected from them. They continue their form from play-ins where they looked really good. Team Liquid also had to play the next game against Machi, and once again, Machi is already eliminated at this point in time, but Team Liquid are still playing to get to 3-3. If G2 beats Suning in the game following this one, both teams, Team Liquid and Suning, would be 3-3, and they would play a tiebreaker to decide who goes to playoffs. So for Team Liquid, this game is incredibly important. And they draft for comfort, for Impact and Jensen, I think. The Shen is one of Impact's most played champions, and the Syndra, I think, is basically comfort for every mid laner in this tournament. In the bot lane, instead, we have Core JJ on an incredibly aggressive pick, pays out right from the start. The Pantheon getting first blood here. Just a really strong early game champion. And on the other hand, Machi actually get their hands on the Ornn. A really good champion at this tournament right now. Very, very often it's banned out. And they also put the Kassadin in the mid lane. Ornn Kassadin to me is one of the most late game focused team compositions you can go. The Kassadin just wants to scale up, just wants to reach that late game. And while the Ornn has a lot more lane presence, he also wants to reach these Ornn items, wants to get that high utility in team fights with the knockups. And yeah, so also with the Ashe, a really pretty good late game AD carry. I think Machi really want to hit those late game team fights around neutral objectives where this team comp can really shine. And I think the Lee Sin is the pick for Gemini to get them there. He really wants to have some early game impact, facilitates his lane, keep them safe, and yeah, give them the opportunity to scale into the later phases of this game. Sadly for Machi, it didn't work out that way at all. The Kassadin went down in lane very, very early on, a couple of times. Jensen was really fed. Broxah on the Lilia did an amazing job as well, and as did Tactical on the Senna. And this trio of carries really did the job here for Team Liquid. There's not much to be said about this game. It's a game similar to the first two games of the day that we saw, where one team is able to get ahead really early on in the game and snowball that into further and further wins and just close out the game with their gold lead. Team Liquid in this one only took 2 dragons. They didn't even take a Baron to do it. And yeah, they just rolled over Machi with this team comp and still keep their hopes alive. They now have to hope for G2 to beat Suning, which G2 has already done earlier on in this tournament. And if G2 is able to do it, Team Liquid get the chance to fight Suning for playoff qualification and have it in their own hands, whether or not they qualify. And here we are, Suning versus G2, possibly the last game of the day. Actually, not possibly the last game of the day. There's definitely going to be a tiebreaker game after this. Because if G2 win here, Team Liquid and Suning are 3-3, and so they will play a tiebreaker to determine who gets out of groups. If Suning win here, both G2 and Suning are 4-2 with an even head-to-head, and so they would play a tiebreaker to determine who gets out in first place. Both teams in this game bring out unconventional picks, let's say. On G2 side, we see the double ADC bot lane with the Kalista and the Senna. We haven't seen Senna support in a long time. I think we haven't seen it at all at this tournament. The ADC Senna is definitely where it's been in this meta. And we also see the Graves, so 3 ADC composition on G2 side with 2 strong solo laners in Renekton and Echo to get into the backline and open up the team fights for the AD carries to do the damage. On the other side, we see a much more standard front to back fighting for Suning with the engage from the Jarvan, the Camille, and then the backline of Syndra and Ezreal looking to scale for the Ezreal and do the damage in later game team fights. But Bin doesn't go the usual Camille route. He goes TP Ignite and Omni Stone. I don't really know if that's the way to go. I think there's like a lot of runes that Camille can use quite well, but yeah, I think there's a reason we don't often see this. Also with the ignite, very unusual, but let's see how it plays out. At 12 minutes into the game, we see the first instance of what's a bit characterizing for G2 in this matchup. They bring Jankos on the Graves down to the bot lane, and they play between the turrets, using the fact that the Kalista Senna is so much stronger than Ezreal Bard at this point in the game, but they get caught out by Suning. Bin is down here. Angel and SOFM roamed down from the mid lane, and G2 actually saw them. So this is really weird from them. It's a big overcommitment. It's really over aggressive, and all three members go down for it. And this is kind of what we see throughout the game. A bit later on, we're gonna see G2 bring their bot lane into mid and basically do the same thing. Try to push the Ezreal off the turret in mid lane, going way too far forward and paying the price, and Mickey X and Perks going down again. And that's basically all she wrote. Over-aggression from G2 was basically the name of this game, and they got punished for it, and then they got outscaled. We see that Bin in the top lane has been able to do a really good job against Wunder, who has been able to get ahead in CS, but has repeatedly been punished by the Ignite Omni Stone Camille. And on the rest of the map, we see that the Kalista is 0-5, the Senna 1-4. This is not because they have been ganked and fed, but because they pushed way too far forward and got punished for it. And Suning take a pretty easy game of, I think, overconfidence from G2. And that, my friends, brings us to what was undeniably the best game of this day of Worlds 2020, and definitely the game of the day today. It's a tiebreaker between Suning and G2 Esports. I highly encourage you to go watch this game for yourself. Watch the entire thing. It's an amazing game. I had goosebumps multiple times this game because it was just insanely exciting. And yeah, definitely a game I would recommend everyone out there to watch. Suning versus G2 after this group stage is, I think we should keep that in our memory as a matchup that has produced insanely exciting games. The first one where they met in groups was already really good. The second one maybe is the one that disappointed a bit, because G2 basically threw it away with their decision making. But the third one, which we're gonna watch together now, is a banger. It's a highlight. It's even better than their first match. From the draft, I would say that Suning went for early bot side orientation. The Ashe usually gives you a lot of priority in lane, and together with the Leona, you definitely want to go towards that bot lane to enable it to engage, go in, hopefully get early kills and snowball that with the Leona and Ashe combination. The top side is a little bit more self-sufficient or laid back. With the Akali, you definitely want to just get through the early levels. So for the Graves, definitely protect her. But before you have the Gunblade, you don't really want to go for any heavy engagements. And in top, you have Gangplank versus Sion. And that matchup is really just basically the Gangplank over and over firing Qs into the Sion's face, proccing his Grasp of the Undying. And so there's also not a lot to be done there, I would say. In the jungle, we have the Graves, who's going to be looking to power farm, get to those items, get strong for himself. And I would hope if anything, help out the bot lane to win this matchup. On the other side, we see G2 once again going for the Lilia, one of Jankos's comfort picks at this tournament. We see him getting first blood for G2 right here, Suning able to trade that 1-for-1. In the bottom lane, we once again have the Senna for G2, but this time it's in the AD carry position and paired with the Zed, which I think is a much stronger lane than the Kalista Senna. In mid we have the Syndra, in top we have the Sion. I think both teams are pretty evenly matched at every point in the game. We have two scaling junglers, we have insane, basically infinite scaling on the side of G2 with the Sion passive and the Senna passive, but we also have really good scaling on Suning's side with the GP and the Akali. This game, once again, is one of those games where it's impossible to show everything that happened this game, and so you should definitely just go and watch it for yourself. It's definitely worth the time. I'm jumping to the ending of the game right now. You can see that 42 minutes have passed. Both teams have 3 dragons for themselves, 2 infernal dragons. So the next drake that's spawning, if the game isn't decided by then, that can very well be what decides this game, because the Infernal Soul is insanely strong for both these teams. The Akali, Graves, Ashe and GP on Suning's side, and imagine a 45-minute Senna with Infernal Dragon. She can just poke you from a screen away and trigger that Infernal Soul every single time. G2 have been behind for this team for this almost this entire game, but they always manage to just hold on, always manage to get themselves another Drake, another turret here or there to just stay in this game and deny Suning to take it all. And what we're gonna see play out now is that the ending sequence of the game, G2 give up the Baron. This is the 3rd Baron for Suning, and I think this is one more thing that just defines G2 to me. They are the only team that's able to give over 3 Barons in a game and just not auto lose it. But we're gonna see the big plays from Bin right here, going into the backline. He TPs in with the flank onto the Senna and the Syndra, and with those 2 gone, even though they just secured the Infernal Soul, G2 have no way to win out this game. I'm kind of sad. We saw a little bit of mispositioning from Mickey X at this dragon fight. He was in the brush behind the dragon pit actually. His goal was to keep out Suning and make sure that they get the Infernal Soul, but his positioning meant that the backline of Senna and Syndra was unprotected when the GP TP'd into that backline. I don't know even what to say after this game. I was extremely on the edge of my seat for basically this entire game, or at least when it hit like 30 minutes and Cap's perks already scaled really well on the Senna, and every single engagement from there was just, the game could have ended at multiple points, but G2 just were able to hang on by the smallest of margins, and then we get that incredible Baron for Infernal Soul trade, and again Bin TPing into the backline, making that insane play with the GP ultimate and the barrels, doing all the damage in the world. If you're a GP player out there, this is basically your blueprint how to carry games. And I think insanely well played by both teams. Once again, definitely go back and watch this game. You can see so much, you can learn so much from how G2 were able to hang on to this game, and then also how Suning were able to close it out. I hope you noticed that this really, I'm trying to make a Game of the Day episode every single day. It doesn't always work out, of course. This is basically just a hobby at this point. But games like these are why I even watch this game, why I decided to start making content around it, because when you see games like this, it's just too exciting to not talk about it. So yeah, let's talk about it. Let's discuss in the comments section on Twitter. Hit me up, definitely. And as always, thanks for watching.